Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. We've got a really good guest, a gentleman named Mike Moran, who has been around quite a bit, former dealer principal, and he's involved with something that brings tremendous value. Because let's face it, in a society that lacks an attitude of gratitude, being able to say thank you is really important and useful, and certainly combines with everything else to help earn loyalty and just keep people happy and focused on the fact that you appreciate their business. So without further ado, Mr. Solman, Mr. Larkin, and I would like to welcome Mike Moran. Mike, tell us a little bit about your thank you videos and what you've been doing and what they bring to dealerships. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. Thank you video started in 2013 and then publicly in 2015, but it all started back in the 80s. 85.
Everything started in the 80s.
So well, you know, I was 85 in 85 at a store. Larry Falk said, "You can run the store. Let's see what you can do with it." And I learned right away. I used to make a little cassette tape, and I would hand it to customers. I wrote in a magic marker $500 on the outside of the tape, and we'd hand it to everybody we didn't sell. And we told them, if you play this tape, it's worth $500 when they would play the cassette tape. And it was me just thanking them for shopping, telling them that, I understand you got a lot of choices to make, but I'd like to be your dealer. If you come back, I'll give you the $500 towards the down payment, $100 extra your trade. And it would produce a good 30 to 40 deals every month. Nobody heard of stuff like that back then.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and then we started we built a BDC. I built one for Jim Hub, Rutledge Buick back in the old days. And then, General Motors adopted it, and Tom Stuker and I built some, and then kind of separated. And then I kept in that business and built a fairly large BDC, and then launched a company called Auto Direct. And it was in '99. It was the first web-based CRM BDC combined company in the automotive industry. In 2000, we owned thousands of dealerships. We had clients everywhere, and it was a great product, great service, all wireless infrastructure, web-based. AT&T was our partner. Hewlett-Packard was our other partner. We rolled it out for GM, Ford, and Mercedes and Chrysler. Over the years, I learned that technology just sometimes makes people a little bit lazy. And if you give them a box to fill in on the the requested box, and you have to fill this in, but you give them a drop-down menu, well, they'll just drop down and pick the one that they haven't picked last. So what it did is it deteriorated the value of who the customer was. Because our model was built on 3 different customers. Every dealership, every business pretty much has only 3 customers. There are no more customers than that. We all only have 3. We either have new, repeat, or referral. Now, we may have them come in a shopping through the internet, third-party leads, coming from radio, TV, newspaper, make a phone call, walk in traffic. We have a lot of ways that they shop, but they're all one of 3. They're either new, repeat, or referral. And then if they're new, they're either a new customer to our dealership that owns our product, or they're a new customer to our dealership that has never owned our product. That's 2 distinctly different new kind of customers. One, you're selling product and the dealership. The other one, they like the product, you're really selling the dealership because they never purchased from you. The repeat customer, you got the repeat customer that bought from you, doesn't service with you. You got the customer that services with you, never bought from you. And the customer that buys and services with you, which is your primo customer. But if you break up all your marketing and if you look, my model was always the journey. It's called the logical sequence to a sale. From point of contact to close and beyond, what is that journey? And that journey is either a new customer, repeat, or referral, and then there's the derivatives of those. So how do you teach salespeople how to handle a customer if you say, well, that's an internet lead? Well, what does that mean? Oh, it's a third-party lead provider, or that's a phone up. Well, you got to get the phone up to an appointment to show. Well, who is that customer on that phone? Our model, when we had our store, which was our key to success, was I taught everyone understand who the customer is. If you're a phone up, but you bought from us in the past, we got a really good chance. If you're a phone up, you never bought from us, and you never owned our product, And our product is not in favor with the community. You know, sometimes the market conditions are not good for some manufacturers. If your product's not good in the community, you've got a new up that has never bought from you, is making a phone call, that's a big lift. And it's not easy for salespeople to understand the difference. So we streamline their efforts to make sure that the salesperson has the ability to work effectively to get the customer to either an appointment, a show, a sale, and beyond. And knowing the journey is what was the key. And that sprung up to thank you video. It was my son and I were doing in our BDC. We handled unsold follow-up, service declines, customer pay, warranty pay, sold customers. We handled 9 different exits of a dealership. And we had a BDC. We made all the calls. And we noticed in the late 2005 to 2010, 15, getting a call accepted by a customer is getting so difficult because everybody's got this thing, the cell phone. And now you're in their private space. And now they have more controls on it. They can look at it and they see who it is. They don't want to talk to you right now. Now you're going to voicemail. What's the voicemail message? So we had to come up with a plan. And in 2013, a friend of mine said, go mobile and your guys are doing video. Do video and mobile. That's the future. And he was right. He was a technology guy out of San Diego. So we make a video of the dealer. I'll give you a perfect example. Larry deals with this a lot with training and stuff. Customers in the showroom, maybe there's a TO. They want to go home and think about it. They leave and go home and think about it. For a salesperson, that's probably one of the toughest phone calls to make, because you don't know what they're thinking about. You got to get engaged with them. You got to talk to them. They know if they're going to engage with you, you're going to try to box them in to make them make a decision. So in our model, we changed it to the owner, and we made a video of the owner, put it on a dashboard, and it just goes out to everyone who's an unsold follow-up customer that leaves the dealership. It's the owner, and the owner says, hey, thank you very much for shopping with us. I would really like an opportunity to earn your business. There's usually 3 things that stops anybody from purchasing a vehicle. Price of our car, the price of their trade, or monthly payment. Maybe there was something else. Maybe there's another reason. What was your reason? Simply click the link below, and you'll be connected to my live 24/7 hotline. And then our BDC handles that call right away, records it, and we get the engagement process for the owner. It's usually the GM or manager. But the consumer who has a phone today is used to, because things move so fast with technology, they're used to instant gratification. And if they see the owner on their phone, the owner of a dealership, asking them, what is it going to take to earn your business? No one's really ever heard of this before, of an owner talking to a customer. A third-party person or a call center agent or somebody else. This is the owner on their phone asking them what does he have to do to earn their business. And then there's a button that says connect, and you connect and it goes right to us. We take and record that conversation. We get it over to the team that's already knows what to do. We send it over to them, follow up, and they get engaged with that customer immediately on behalf of the owner, or sometimes the GM. It's his video. Sure. He'll get in the call right away. So that is how we started with Thank You Video. It was thanking the customer shopping. Thank you for servicing your vehicle. I understand that you declined to have some service work done on your vehicle. If you want, I'll give you a 12% discount if you'll bring the car back and have the service work done within the next 2 weeks. Or you can trade it in. I'll give you full value for your vehicle, and I won't deduct it for the work that's needed. That service decline is, in some of our stores, is about 50 to 60 deals back every month.
Tires. They can't afford tires.
If it's a tier 1, getting a BMW, Mercedes customer, you tell them they got a $4,000 worth of repairs. Here's a credit card, get it done. Your GM, Ford, Chrysler, or your tier 3, 4s,
Hyundai, Kia,
$100, they may want to stretch it out. You give them a 12% discount over the next 2 weeks to get it done. Then you give them an option to trade it in. That gives them something to think about right away. Fix it or trade it. When we first started that, we do hundreds of thousands of those calls every year. When we first started that model, we were doing the investigation of how many people who have a vehicle that needs service work don't get the work done. And the number was $3,600. If you had somebody that had a vehicle in a tier 2 or 3, if you had somebody that had $3,600 worth of repairs needed on their vehicle and they declined service work, within 60 days, they were in another dealership buying a car. And never go back to the same dealership because the dealer already knows the problems of that car. So the consumer thinks, well, if I go over to that dealership, maybe they're not going to be able to find out all the damage. So when the dealer says, hey, bring it back, I'll give you full value for your trade-in and I won't discount it for the work that's needed to get done, those deals happen real fast.
You know, Mike, it's interesting. You and I are kind of bookending of the way to approach a customer. I just was doing some recruiting and training in Texas, and I did what I always did. I explained that it's a fallacy to think that you close the deal when it's screwed up and the manager comes in and starts telling stories. You start closing the deal when you say, welcome to. Here's my name. Can I ask your name? Can I write it down? I'm terrible with names. If we don't start off pleasantly, we're not going to get anywhere. And by the same token, it's a gold mine when you don't close people initially, because we all know that a third of people say they would gladly come back if somebody would reach out to them. You close 2/3 of the ones that come back. And you're right. If people come in for service or to buy a car, they're there to buy a car and get service. And then if you throw them a lifeline and give them, man, we're going to sound like we're 100 years old, but with them, the what's in it for me, it just makes more sense. Hey, I appreciate you. Here's what I'd like to do for you. Who is it? I'm not surprised that people respond to that so strongly. It's really a great idea.
It was, you know what when you're 25 years old, they give you a store. And you're in the Chicagoland market, which is a very aggressive, there's 106 Chevy dealers. Back then, there's 106 Chevy dealers in the Northwest community of Illinois, Northern Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. So it was a very tough market, real tough guys in there. You had to be creative and you had to know how to handle that customer and make that customer feel really good about them coming to your store. But if that customer is a repeat customer, you don't ever want to lose it because that pays your bills. If it's a new customer that never bought from you, that's what you're going after because that's profit. And you're pulling in from other dealerships because it's pump in, pump out. Back then, they didn't have that term. But anyway, so we're an aggressive dealership. We're marketing in other dealers' markets and pulling customers in, knowing that we're not going to service them. You buy close to home, you service close to work. That's an old saying we used to always do. So if they're servicing 30 miles away from you and they live 12 miles away from you and they work 28 miles away, they're going to that dealer for service, but they bought from you. So there was, you just knew you were not going to have a chance to service that customer.
Well, Michael, I don't mean to be contentious, but I've seen people go out of their way and go farther and pass other dealers because of the way they were treated. You can never underestimate that if you give people a higher level of treatment and service, sometimes the distance, doesn't matter as much.
So thanks for the tee up because we had a Gold Key Club and you were a member of our club at all 7 of our stores and you could purchase any vehicle at any store for $50 over invoice. You got instant service. You didn't have to wait in line. You got a free full detail every year. Larry built a promise to everybody. When we handed those out, we dragged service customers in back to the dealership from other locations because they knew that this Gold Key card, it was like, you remember back in the old days, the gold card. This was the credit card just like that, had all the promises on the back. When you walked into the store, you showed that, and everyone knew what that meant. And right away, you went to the front of the class, you went through everything. And in the 80s, that was what was in the 90s, that was important. Then the internet came out, and now we've got
you got thousands of people trying to emulate it, and it's
our industry is going through something that happens with technology. We have experts in little areas, in pockets. This guy's an expert on lead gen. This guy's an expert on phone calls. This guy's an expert on the sales process. This guy's an expert in TO, but they're not expert when you put them all together as a journey. They don't look like they were even built together. It's different. Their attitudes are different. So you're taking your customer through a journey and you're bouncing around and trying to make the customer fit the journey you design rather than designing a journey around the customers in your PMA or your DMA. Who's your customer? A Mercedes journey is going to be very different than a Chevy and a Ford journey. But processing is fairly simple and fairly equal. It's just that the words and phrases and what we do, our activities and actions, have to complement the next process in the journey. Otherwise, the customer right away says, you know what, I think I can go home and think about this because something's not right.
You also said something else that was interesting. It was all interesting, Mike, but something else. You said when they came in with the card, everybody knew what it meant.
Absolutely.
How scary is it that you go into almost any dealership, they're not familiar with the programs, the rebates. Half of them don't know what the inventory is. Half of them don't know what the features are. I just had a mystery shop where a guy went in. One of my guys, I sent him in to say they're looking for a car for their sister who just had a baby. So they see how rude and ignorant people can be, or instead of saying, hey, using it as a bridge. And the guy, the salesperson was asking my candidate, who I got hired, how does this work?
Right.
And he's thinking, aren't you trying to sell me something? So on top of it being a fabulous idea, it also harkens back to what happens when we're all on the same page, when we're all rowing in the same direction instead of in a big circle.
Well,
Mike, well, go ahead.
If I can, Mike, years ago, I don't know how many years passed, I wish I had met Mike Moran earlier, because when I was trying to build my compliance...
Hold on, Mike, that was a compliment, because he told Larkin he wished he had met me later, like 20 years ago when I was, less annoying.
Well,
less gray hair.
But from a compliance standpoint, what I wanted to do is a video with the dealer where they welcomed the consumer and gave the consumer the process and brought them up front of, here's our process. So you're doing it on the flip side, which I could never get them to start doing it from the beginning, but your product makes it seamless that if they don't do it at the beginning, you're catching them at the end.
So, here's what we do. We have an appointment set video from the owner. It's the first engagement from a lead that comes in, gets a video from the owner, says, hey, thank you very much for your interest. 3 things are going to happen. 1, we're going to find the vehicle of your choice. We'll have it ready for you so we won't waste your time. 2, we'll have your vehicle appraised immediately when you come in, and we'll give you top dollar for it in this market and in the other markets around us, so we give you the best deal for it. And 3, I'll personally go through the numbers with you and explain everything in detail. So you'll have everything you need to make an informed decision.
And every
the first video that customer receives before they even get to the dealership.
And every customer wants that. And every customer wants exactly what you just said. That's it. They don't want to have any hassles. And that's perfect. I love it.
The hardest thing, Larry, I was a trainer. I just got out of it because I couldn't do it, because I couldn't see the success, because the turnovers were so high. In 85, I dynamically changed the way we did everything at the dealership. No salespeople were allowed to greet a customer. All customers were greeted by the TOs and myself. You first engage with them. Welcome to the dealership. Have I ever had an opportunity to sell you a vehicle? Yes, you have. No, you haven't. Great. You understand who they were, the journey. You got the information. You talked about their trade right away. You asked them, let's go outside. Let's go look at your car. Before you even showed them a car on the lot, you were looking and praising their car, and you were building a relationship with them. Then you handed them off to a salesperson. We call them product specialists, and said, here, go out and show them the product. You guys go out and pick a vehicle, and then we'll put some numbers together when I see you. And you explain to them the whole process before. Now, I just got through shopping at another dealership, and they greeted me, and the salesman didn't really know what he was talking about, and the manager kept, what do I got to do to sell you a car today? And now I'm over here. You guys have a different process, and that's why we went from 38th to number 3 in the zone in 18 months. Doing a movement like that gets General Motors' attention real fast. And I designed it to move customers through a process. Here's what we're going to do. Do what you said you're going to do. Deliver it the way you want it to them. On the outcome, why wouldn't they buy?
That's magic.
And that was a part of the whole process that we did the store. And then I built a BDC program. Then I built now I've got the video that just helps them through this process. And if a customer, think of it this way, we're in the medical field. You go to a hospital. You're going to go get surgery. You're scared. You've never been through this before. It's going to take a long time for surgery, recovery, and so forth. Then you get a video from the president of the hospital that says, hey, thank you very much. Well, I understand when you go through this process, you may have some questions. You might be a little nervous about it. You might be a little afraid of everything that's going to happen. I want you to know that I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Anytime you are uncomfortable about anything, before surgery, after surgery, during rehabilitation, click the link below. You'll be connected to my live 24/7, and I will get back to you immediately, and we'll get everything handled for you so that you're not uncomfortable about anything. That gives that customer confidence. They got a hot button to the big shot. What it also does is everyone who works there knows that that customer has a button to the big shot.
Yeah.
Yep. Larry, what you deal with is the owner never really knows what happens of the unsold customer. They know everything about the sold customer because everybody tells everyone how great they were closing that deal. But what about the customer that didn't buy and left the dealership? Nobody knows
the stuff that doesn't show up on the statement.
Yeah, no, that's huge. The dealers have no clue what's going on in their F&I office. They have no clue what's going on with the post. And when you were talking about the healthcare, in our area, we have Hartford Healthcare. And the president is a guy named Jeffrey Flax. And this guy is so visible. And that's exactly where you start. And then Mike Larkin always talks about mission, vision, and value. And so what you're doing is you're doing all of that so everybody collectively knows. And that's the biggest nightmare in the dealership because we all talk about it, all the trainers, silo, silo, silo. Well, your program breaks down all that bullshit silo and it gets right to the meat of the cause. Fix your car, buy your car, and that's it.
Here's the saying I tell dealers all the time. I can increase your business by 50%. Get rid of your CRM, get rid of your greeter, get rid of everything that you do. No more computers. Have everybody just work the old-fashioned way with an up card and paper and pencil. Then we're going to take your desk, Mr. Owner, and we're going to put it, yeah, exactly right, a lead card. And we're going to take your desk, Mr. Owner, and we're going to put it in the parking lot. And you get here every morning and you stay all the hours of the night. And everyone who pulls in your dealership, I want you to greet them, thank them for visiting your dealership and hope that they have a great experience. And everyone in your service department, thank them for bringing their car in for service work. Then you got to go sit at the other exit side of and we'll have another desk for you. And everyone who leaves the dealership that doesn't buy a car from the showroom or the used car department, you thank them for shopping with you. You say, you know what? I'm the owner. I own everything here. Nobody can make a better deal than me. What do I have to do right now to earn your business? You'll close a lot of deals. Yeah. Service customers, thank you for having your vehicle serviced with us. Thank you for having your vehicle looked at by us, but you decided not to go through and have some service work done. What do I have to do to earn your business service department? I'll give you a 12% discount right now, or take your vehicle, I'll trade it in. You can trade it in, and I'll give you full value, and I won't discount it for the work that's needed. If the dealer or the GM got out of their office and met with the customers in the beginning and the end, they could increase 50, 60, 70%, no question.
Michael, it's not going to happen, and thank goodness, because I keep getting wealthier and wealthier, because what I do is they pay me to train salespeople to realize they're in partners with the dealer with no debt service. And if they run it like it's their business, it's become part of my routine. The approximate cost to bring somebody into a dealership with not just to purchase, just to walk in is $450. And yet everywhere in this country, people are getting blown off left and right. But if people had to put a cash deposit down before they spoke to somebody, they'd find out about their family, they'd build rapport. So that's a fabulous idea. When I ran my store, I talked to everybody. I had time for the lot porter. I talked to every customer. But it's an unrealistic assessment. They don't. one of the reasons they don't want to get involved is they don't want the customer interacting with them. In their mind, that's why they have a general manager and all the people that are in between them and their customers. Right. And that's why some of them go broke, because there's people in between them and their customers.
So now what I've done is taken that same model and put it on a video, and it shows up only on mobile phone. Nothing we do is internet. I mean, is email. Everything is mobile application. So every video we send out goes to a mobile phone only. It's not on.
Gotcha.
It's not.
Michael, how do they get a hold of you? If somebody's interested in this, and I can't imagine anybody.
Contact me for New England. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, here I'll go through two. There's you. Just go to Thank You Video or tyvgroup.com, thankyouvideo.com. But now, Larry, take what you and I both know. You've got your database, and Gary's real familiar with this too. You got your database of customers. You want to have a sales event. We opened up sales events and service clinics.
Wonderful.
So we take a database from a dealer, people who bought from you, people who shop with you, didn't buy. We go through a DMS, we go to a CRM, and we invite them in, and we send them video from the owner right to their phone, inviting them in for a special customer appreciation week.
I love it.
Prices are marked on the cars. But what we're doing is the owner now is getting involved. Most customers, and we all know this, most customers who own a vehicle, by the time they get their first oil change, possibly by the time they get their new plates, the salesperson's gone. High turnover in some of these stores. Most salespeople don't last a full year at some of the stores. When that problem happens, who does that customer have a relationship with? I build it so the dealer has a relationship with the customer all the time, no matter what the turnover rate is.
Wait a minute, which also solves the classic debate. Is it the salesman's customer or is it the owner's customer?
It's the owner's customer.
The owner's customer.
Yeah, totally. It always has been the owner's customer. He just may not want to own it because you got dealeritis.
What you're saying is you're helping them retain possession because they're getting involved and now they have a conduit and a face that isn't going to leave in 2 weeks.
Totally right. And so now you do this event, they show up. We just learned something this week. So we do these events. We had a storm hit in the Springfield, Missouri market, tornadoes and everything. Because we're mobile and because we're on a digital platform and we own our own switch, so we're our own mobile provider. We just shut down the event. Storm came by, then we turned it back on. It didn't cost the dealer a penny extra. If that had been direct mail and he had produced the mail,
lost everything.
He'd been lost it. So what we're learning on our application is we have a lot of flexibility. So you've got a sales event of your customers. You bring them in for an appreciation week. You have all the prices marked down on the vehicles. There's no negotiations necessary. You're glad handing your customers, you're welcoming them. Years ago, we did what's called a service clinic. BMW, Mercedes, and Chrysler, and some GM stores. We did about 600 of these. We took the service customers, and you guys will appreciate this because this is new business development. We took service customers from the service department. Traditionally, metro rural dealers have 50% servicing of their customers, 50% of the competitors' customers. Rural dealers are more 70 of their own, 30% competitors. Major metro, it's a combination.
Logistics. Logistics.
Yeah, exactly. So we take the whole database and we invite everybody in to have their vehicle with a 99-point inspection. It's a free, bring your vehicle in, 99-point safety inspection. It's back to school time. People, they get that on the phone. It shows up. It's the owner explaining it to them. They push the calendar. They pick the date and time that they want to show up. They pull their vehicle in. Technicians go over to the vehicle and say, here's what we found that we suggest you have done for the safety of your vehicle. Some people have it done. Some people want to think about it. It's okay because if they want to think about it, we know there's an opportunity for a trade-in. They get the video from the owner. It says, hey, I know you want to think about it. Would you like to possibly trade that in? And I won't discount it for the work that's needed. So once we get them in, and remember, 50% of those people that show up for that event bought it from another dealer. Now we're going to bring them in and try to get them into the showroom.
Hey, Mike,
and it works.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but but we were talking about this today on Clubhouse. Is kind of, you've solved the problem, and there was a big debate on the dealer employee buy-in for a product like this, and they need to believe it. Well, no, you need to manage that behavior so that they use it properly. It's a part of your business. There's the business that's real, and there's the business that you think is real. As far as a principal, you know this from, being a principal is like, there's the business that's being run, and there's the business that you think is being run.
It's a statement Larry said. The dealer owns the relationship, or the employee owns a relationship.
And it's very dangerous to have the employees own.
Well, the old model I used to say to people is, look, we have 30 days in a month, just average. And we have 85 employees. And every one of the employees is allowed one bad day a month. They're all going to have a bad day once a month. 80 employees, you're going to have 80 bad days every month in a 30-month calendar. The chances of your customer meeting an employee with having a bad day is really high. So why be, my model was always, I want to be the last person they hear from and speak to no matter what they were in for. And I was able to accomplish that with Thank You Video. And now we do the events for business development, and then we have the model for the Thank You Video for the processing, so that the consumer knows that they're on a great journey.
Mike, we can't tell you how impressed we are with your product. Anybody listening to this, reach out to Mike, reach out to Gary, who's going to be working with him. It just sounds like something that's going to be invaluable to dealers. Also, Mike, when you get a minute, reach out to me through LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to you some more myself.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on and everything. It was fantastic.
I will say that the cell phone has changed the way that people sell cars, and the dealer that has been hiding in the back office for the last 20 years, they know now that they better have somebody at the front or they're going to lose their business. So with your video and the cell phone, you're capturing everything. I mean, so the journey is there. And the dealer, he owns a car dealership. He sells cars. He needs to be, or he or she need to know everything that's going on, and they don't right now. And your video opens up a ton of eyes, and doing it the right way and making it nice and easy.
Well, I'll make one final point for you, because it follows what you just said, Gary. A lot of these dealers have a business development center. They have a little call center, business center. And those are outbound telephone calls mostly.
Yep.
And consumers aren't really engaging, especially now they have so many controls on the mobile. So we build it so that we put the whole program in the BDC. And instead of making outbound telephone calls, it takes a few seconds. They get the schedule and they start pumping out the videos. And then now the consumers are calling in on the unsold follow-up call. It's an inbound call rather than outbound call.
That's gold.
It's so much easier to engage with.
Well, that's gold. That's gold. You have a positive environment. It's not a negative. It's all positive, and that helps them move through the channels. That's awesome.
It's hard, Larry. You dealt with BDCs before and stuff. You know how hard it is to keep a call agent motivated to just sit there and make calls, and then
it's not that hard, Mike, because they get tremendous support from the sales team.
That's why you got a seminar in Tampa on May 22nd.
Well, for sure.
We have to
I'm
cut
getting
this
together
part.
with Sean Armour on May 22nd in Tampa. We're going to do how sales and BDC can coexist. Listen, anybody that's listening to this, you'd be foolish not to reach out to Mike. He's turning it upside down in terms of chasing the customer. You're giving the customer a reason to want to call you. You're giving them a second shot at missed service, which is huge, at missed sales. Reach out to him. Reach out to Gary. You can't go wrong with either one of these two guys. They're both gentlemen, and they're offering tremendous value, and they're both easy to reach. And we look forward to seeing everybody soon. And, God, it was great having you on, Mike.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. The product sounds exciting, and it is a solution. And I love being involved with solutions. So glad to have you on.
Thank you very much.
Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Bye bye now.